Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ann Miller French. I am the owner and founder of Angelic Hands LLC, and I am going to talk a little bit about some of my personal experiences with the spirit world. For those of you that are not familiar with me or my platform, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I'm an intuitive. I was uh, I came into this world, born into this world with many different gifts. They've flourished over the years, and I am now, taking a lot of what I've learned, and not only my own personal experiences, but also the wisdom and um, I serve in the capacity of a teacher, a life coach. I offer many different workshops, different services with my practice, Angelic Hands. I'm the founder of the All New Self Love Academy. You'll see different postings related to that and information, not only on my website, but here on Facebook, YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I have a podcast called Conversations with Spirit and Ann Miller French of Angelic Hands. So, see what resonates. Every once in a while, I share some juicy nuggets of information that comes through from various souls that connect with me. And I shared this message earlier on my podcast from today, but I also wanted to, connect with those of you that are, following me, or if you're just, finding me for the very first time on either platform, my YouTube channel, for Angelic Hands, or here on in Facebook land. Want to talk about the messages that were coming through. I tune in, I connect with my higher self. I work with the angelic realm, I work with the Galactic Federation of Light, and I have really learned to trust. And that's what's coming through loud and clear today. Trust, 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 trust the information that's coming through, trust the where you're being guided, and really trying to make an effort to be in the present moment and not try to predict the future, which places yourself into a state of worry and anxiety. You can't predict the future. Things are changing so rapidly. And if you're, currently experiencing some changes in your life, I know I'm personally, going through some changes, and I've gone through quite a few, what I call the death and rebirth phase, where parts of you symbolically die away, if you will, what you thought you were, as the masks fall off. You start shedding, skin, like shedding layers of skin like a snake, whatever you want to use for your symbolism or your metaphors. Just really looking at it that you're letting go of um, what was, who you thought you were. And as you let go of all that stuff, you're really starting to emerge and see, even if it's just the beginning of who you truly are. And if you're not at that point yet, that's also totally normal. You're exactly where you're meant to be. It's an unearthing process, and trusting, wherever your starting point is with your journey, and coming back to this beautiful 0 point energy field, aka your heart. And that's where everything begins. And trusting, your heart and your soul, as far as where you're being guided and or redirected. And even if you don't see it in the physical yet, continue to follow, trust, what's coming through. It can even feel like a subtle whisper or a little nudging. So, a couple of experiences that I've had over the years, like, first and foremost, I remember different experiences as a little girl, and seeing family members, friends that have passed away. It came through in different degrees as how the information came through. Then over time, as I worked with those parts of me, the parts of those gifts that had atrophied, if you will, and then they started to open up again. And muscle has memory. So really working with that, working with those gifts and, my clairvoyance, my clairaudience, all the clairs, all the sensories and the information that was coming through and realizing that how the information was being delivered to me, my messages, my symbols, the information is going to be very unique to me, like a unique signature. And how the information comes to you, it's going to be very unique to you. So it's part of what I, even when I'm doing the one-on-one coaching or the mediumship development workshop with my students, it's helping them develop those underdeveloped gifts, if you will, until they're like just moving full speed ahead, very similar to what I went through. I noticed things starting to turn back on, slowly but surely in the early 90s based on experiences that I was going through at the time. And then when I started my Reiki journey in late 2015 into the following year, 2016, it's like, whew, everything completely opened. Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest, it was a bit overwhelming in the beginning, but I learned so many different things that each and every one of us has the ability to adjust the volume, if you will, as far as, working with the spirit world, working with your team, working with your gifts and adjusting. Lovingly call it adjusting the volume. So as far as how much information you're receiving until it kind of levels out and then increasing things over time. So I remember, in 2015 when I went for my first bit of Reiki training. It was level one, and I was going through my attunement process and the training, becoming certified, and my godmother came through. And at that time, um, I could smell cigarette smoke in the room. She had passed away years ago from lung cancer, and she had smoked. I remember as a child, she smoked for many years, and then she eventually quit. And there were different, like I have a much greater understanding now regarding the lungs and grief. It's like unprocessed grief, and we hold a lot of stuff there. And that's a big part of my journey. It's helping others through grief therapy and through coaching and the Self Love Academy and energy healing, so many different things, but surrounding grief in the lungs. And I remember the cigarette smoke, it was so pronounced in the healing space that I was in when I was going through the training. And I looked around and I asked my fellow students, I said, does anybody else smell cigarette smoke? And they said, no. My teacher, she looked at me and she said, who's the first person that comes to mind right now? And I said, well, to be honest with you, my grandmother, my godmother. She said, trust that. And that's what I, mean, that it's going to be unique. And at that time, as far as the sense of smell, that was very heightened. So things were opening up. I remember, like, I would see shadows, see colors. Now it's when I see a soul coming through, it's kind of like I don't want to say a movie clip, but just no different than if I was seeing somebody in front of me. Like, I sense the energy, I hear the information, and just see them clear as day, exactly what they're wearing, what age they come in at, and different things that they bring through as validation. So whether I'm sharing a message with a client, so the information that they're sharing there are times where it may not make any sense to me, but what I'm being shown or what is being shared with me through my clear audience, I'm sharing that information with my clients, and then seeing what resonates with them to help them to determine which family member is coming through. Is it mom? Is it a dad? Is it a friend? Is it a loved one? Is it a pet? It just, you never know. I'm an open vehicle, and just making that beautiful connection. And so like I said, at that time it was, smelling the cigarette smoke, and then over time, being able to see her, know when she comes through. And even when my dad had passed, like, seeing him no different than when he was here, but he's when he comes through, he's healthy, he's happy, and no longer tied to the body. It's just we go back to this beautiful pure source energy. And some of my clients have asked me over the years, well, if a loved one decides to take on a different journey or reincarnate, will I still be able to connect with them? Absolutely, yes. It We're all made up of energies, so there is still a piece of that soul that can be with you anywhere at any time, and learning how to make that connection and trusting what's coming through. So I've been quite grateful and honored to be able to connect with the afterlife, connect with the archangels, ascended masters, and channel information that comes through from the Galactic Council, and from different walks of life, as far as who is coming through, whether they're asking for help or if I'm making a connection for a client doing a reading. It's been a very, very beautiful process, and there were things that I was learning along the way, and I'm still learning, to be completely open with you. And the other part of this is, a lot of times there's wisdom, there's information that's being shared. So, if you're going through something, just know that you do have a team that's with you 24/7. It's made up of angels, archangels, ascended masters, galactic council, loved ones that have passed away, sometimes a beloved pet. I know I was able to tune in and connect very quickly, when my two turtles had passed away, a couple years ago, and got to see what their next journey was. And it was just reassuring knowing that their time with me was done, and they moved on to what their next stage was, as far as how they wanted to reincarnate. In that case, that they came back as sea turtles. And there was an earlier lifetime that I shared with them where they were sea turtles at that time as well. And big, I mean, massive. So it's pretty cool thinking about it. But with your gifts and with the information that's coming through, just trust, jot things down. Even if you get a symbol, sometimes you'll get information during your sleep, or if you're having connecting with a loved one, a lot of times they will work to connect with you during your sleep state if you're in a very deep sleep state, because they're just energy and running at such a high vibration. So they got to make this connection to tune in with us and where our energy is at to be able to receive that information. So a lot of things that I do each and every day, to work with my energy levels, work with my vibration. And there's other days where just like, okay, feeling blah today. They got to work through this stuff, like whatever is coming up to the surface. So, just having that awareness, not trying to rush the outcome, especially if you're experiencing changes at this time, or if you're experiencing losses of any kind, if you're working through grief. working through a death and rebirth cycle, working through a dark night of the soul. Shadow work is so important for each and every one of us. It's finding and integrating those lost aspects of self and calling them home and starting to feel whole again, piece by piece, bit by bit. And within those aspects, you'll find those bits of intuition and start to remember exactly who you are. So I just, wanted to share that today. And I know a lot of times when my dad comes through, it's just that, if I'm working through something, it's just like, in the past, when he was still with us, he used to just say to me, keep going. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And when his energy comes through, it's huge, it's big, it's vibrant, it's healthy, and very, very loving, and just holding. Um, I know he's just, sending that love to me and to my entire family, all of our loved ones and friends, and knowing that he's doing good. He's doing really good on the other side, and all the other loved ones that have passed. And I'm grateful to be able to make that connection and to be able to bridge the gap between the living and the afterlife, and provide the insights and the clarity and the guidance, and know that there's so much more that goes into reading. There's also a huge healing component that goes hand in hand, synergistically with it, and just to be a part of that. So looks like my connection is a little bit wonky here, so hopefully you'll still get the information that's coming through today. But I just, wanted to share that, just a little bit of information. I haven't been on here in a while, so um, a lot of the information on my website has been updated. So if you're interested in, scheduling a reading, all of my services are offered remotely. So if you're looking for psychic reading, medium reading, oracle card reading, take a look at my website, which is ReikiAngelicHands.com. That information for the website can be found on the description for today's live. If you're just catching this, on the live or later today on the replay, take what resonates with you. If you're looking to start working on different things, get some guidance, get some clarification, see what resonates, not sure, reach out, connect. Let's have a discussion as far as what would be a good starting point for you. So I'm sending you lots of love. I hope that you are doing well, and um, when you truly do work through, that wall of grief and what's standing in the way, you'll start to see what's on the other side, and it's all the, your heart's desires and your wishes, dreams come true. So it's really being true to you. Trust where you're being guided, whether you're getting, messages coming through from a loved one, from the angelic realm, the ascended masters. Just, trusting what's coming through from your higher self, who you truly are. Follow that guidance, face your fears, and really work on being more in the present moment and trusting the information, the guidance as it's coming through. Take care.